The member for Bruce.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to call out the Liberal government's attacks on Australia's world-leading superannuation system. This is a system of which Australians should rightly be so proud. Right now we have $3 trillion in management in the system, rising to $10 trillion by 2040. Now, politicians are often rightly criticised for not thinking for the long term from the country. Well, the Labor government in the 1980s put in place superannuation as a way of raising the living standards of ordinary Australians, taking what used to be only for a privileged few, for the elite, proper retirement standards for pension for everyone else, and put this in place, also offsetting our ageing population. It's created a savings pool of capital that's owned by ordinary people, not multinationals and big companies. Superannuation now in this country is part of your wage. The simple truth is a cut to super is a cut to your wage, and every Australian understands that. And I call on the government to rule out cutting superannuation, continuing their attack on cutting wages, to rule that out in the next budget. They're still flirting with it. They've still got the backbench, trying to push the Treasurer, saying let's cut the superannuation guarantee, another way of cutting wages. Well, they should rule it out. I also call on them to stop vandalising and attacking superannuation. It's not a piggy bank for every problem that the government won't take responsibility for. It's for retirement savings. They effectively privatised the first 6 months of the recovery. Shamefully, in those first 6 months, people had spent more from their superannuation, low-income people usually, withdrawing from their superannuation, than the government had spent on JobKeeper and JobSeeker combined. As a result of that, $37 billion has been withdrawn from superannuation, and 600,000 Australians now have $0 in their retirement savings account. Economic geniuses over there got low-income people to withdraw their last bits of super at the bottom of the market, the very worst time to withdraw superannuation. Then, of course, there's the appalling proposal to let family violence victims withdraw $10,000 from their super, asking women to subsidise their own escape from domestic violence and guarantee their children's safety by cashing in and trashing in their super, leading to long-term poverty. At the very moment that women need the community, society to support them, the Liberal government's response was, well, let's privatise your response and you're on your own. Finally, after 3 years trying to push this measure, the Minister for Women announced in Senate estimates yesterday it was being dropped, not because of common sense. They could have listened to people for 3 years telling them this was a dumb idea, because of the prevailing political circumstances where these geniuses realised that it wasn't sustainable. But if you think those two ideas were bad enough, the prize for the dumbest proposal to undermine superannuation, a gold medal for policy stupidity, is the idea to let people withdraw their superannuation to buy houses. It's hard to think of any policy that does so much bad in one go. Triple whammy, reducing retirement savings like the other two, but now pushing up housing prices, and a transfer of wealth, unprecedented in this country, from young people to older people. That's what that would do. Now, Labor believes superannuation is good and home ownership is good, but you don't have to choose between the two. We're trying to protect super, the Liberals are trying to destroy super. But the biggest lie in this policy is it's not about first home buyers at all. The only people that would benefit, the only person that would benefit, is the person selling the house. It's not making it easier to get into a market if you're pushing house prices up. You think about it. You've got two young people bidding in an auction, and each of them has managed to withdraw, say, 20 grand, probably all the super they have. They're in their 20s. And they're each bidding there with 20 grand. Well, they're just going to pay 20 grand more on the house price. The only person who benefits is the person, usually the guy selling the house. It's like taking a vacuum cleaner, putting it in your super account and sucking all the cash out into the pocket of the person selling the house. And the modelling released by Industry Super Australia, independent modelling, despite what those opposites say, showed that this policy would have an average impact on house prices, an increase of 8 to 16% in the median house price in the capital cities. Now, even Joe Hockey, when he floated this thought bubble of an idea when he was Treasurer in 2015, even he had to rule it out quickly because he was pounced on by Matthias Cormann, the then Finance Minister, saying, well, that's a dumb idea, we wouldn't do that because house prices will go up. The Grattan Institute, leading economists like Saul Eslake, it hasn't changed. Malcolm Turnbull's out there telling us it's a stupid idea. You don't make housing more affordable by making it more expensive. And so I call on the Treasurer to put this idea out of its misery to let the member for Goldstein and all these backbenchers trying to get their names in the paper to put them back in their box and rule this out. Thank you, Mr Speaker.